going on, everybody? Jeremy Ritz here. Courage pays better than fear trading. Just giving you a quick update here as we near the end of Monday to take a look at what has happened and transpired today in the markets. We know that this morning we were down significantly. We had another gap down, but we have since recovered, come off of the session lows. And there was a moment today whenever news was dropped that Trump would be pausing tariffs for 90 days, except on China, but that caused a massive run up in the markets, over 100 points, almost 200 points on the SPX, but then that was sold back down, and really we've just been chopping the rest of the day. But let's take a look at the charts and see where we are on some of the tickers we follow. All right, so we're going to start by taking a look at the SPX, and here we could see that this morning we broke down below 20%, hit that bear market territory. In fact, the total on that, if we measure that out, let's see here, that's going to give us 21.36%. So officially bear territory. And remember, for a bear market to end, you have to move 20% higher off of those lows. So that's something that we'll have to watch, but more than likely we'll see more weakness in this market. And we can see we have a little bit of indecision right now, but if we drill down into the 3-minute chart, I just want to show you some of the intraday action that took place. And today, what happened was there was fake news essentially that reported that Trump would be pausing tariffs for 90 days. And you could see this massive run up that came out of here, pushed up. But then when it was confirmed that that was not true, everything sold back down. You could see these massive candles here driving the market down to 40, back in the 4900s. We didn't get back down to that 20%, but since then, it's just been kind of moving sideways. We did get a little bit of a push out of here toward the end of the day, but really we've just continued to move sideways. We're below that 200 EMA on the daily, and we'll see if it can make a push. If we take a look at the VIX, we see that that has come down from its highs today. Now that was a massive candle, was up 60 points at one time. That VIX dropped, the volatility dropped quite a bit, but it's still hanging in there higher than it was on Friday. We're at 46.38. And let's hop over, take a look at the Qs. The Qs are green as well. Actually, the SPY just flipped to red, but we could see here similar type of candle. It did push above that 100 SMA and the weekly got rejected, and a similar pattern that we'll see if we drill into the 3-minute chart here. You got this big run up on the fake news, and then it sold off and basically just been chopping ever since. So really inside of that move higher, everything's been pretty much locked into a range. And so let's take a look at just some other tickers. Let's take a look at NVDA here. We could see similar pattern, push up off of the fake news, drop, and sideways action. Amazon, same thing, push up, drop, and just kind of channeling within that price. I did take a day trade on Amazon today for a decent win to start. And if we just look at a few others here, Apple, again, kind of the same thing. This actually came lower than some of the other tickers has, but just been chopping around. And then we take a look at Tesla, similar kind of pattern. So pretty boring after that push higher from that fake news about tariff relief. But the one thing that you could see is if there is some type of pause with tariffs, if there is some backing off from this administration, it is going to provide some relief. We could see a push higher out of that. That doesn't mean that this bearishness or this weakness is over, because I still think there's some more selling that has to come into play. But just keep this in mind. If we take a look at the daily chart on the SPX, we almost came down to the 2022 all-time highs, which is at 48.1870. So that's a key area I'm watching. So let's say that we go back up and retest this 10-day exponential moving average, and then we roll over from here. What I want to see is whenever we do touch this price area, what happens? Do we shoot through that support? Do we cut down and then find support at the 200 on the weekly? We don't know, but those are some of the support areas I'm watching. And by no means do I think that this weakness is over. So do we get a little bit of relief out of here? Remember, we have CPI and PPI coming up later this week, then roll over. But again, watching the 2022 all-time highs and that 200 SMA on the weekly to see where the next bit of support will be. But let's just hop over to the monthly chart as well. We can see that we do have this 50 SMA on the monthly, which is also right by the 200 SMA on the weekly. So that should be a pretty strong support. You also have that 50 EMA monthly. So that's a really strong confluence of support here. The 200 weekly and the 50 EMA, the 50 SMA monthly. So if it's going to break through that, it's going to take a very, very strong bearish move, but we've definitely been getting those. And if we were to drop down below that, then you have the 100 on the monthly, which is at 37.7660. That would be a really, really rough move to the downside. That would take us back to lows from the 2022 bear market. And if that were to happen, that would not be good. And not that anything is good right now. And then the last thing that I want to point out is there was a statistic that I read today, and I shared this in a short, that there have not been 3 consecutive 4% moves down on the SPX since the Great Depression. Now, it doesn't look like we're going to finish down 4% today because we've come off those lows, but we were very close, and there's still a little bit of time left in the day. But it just goes to show you how strong this bearishness is in this market, and it's going to continue to be there until there is some clarification around these tariffs. So there you go. There's a little market recap for today. Still a little bit of time left in the day, about an hour and 28 minutes before market close at 4 p.m. Eastern time. What are your thoughts? What were you trading today? What were you watching? Where do you see the SPX going next? What's going to happen off of inflation? I'd love to hear your comments down below. And if you want to see my insight in terms of where the price action on SPY could go, check out the video that I have linked in the show notes. And I will see you back here for another market recap.